Okay, so I got the news yesterday afternoon during work that Mike Leach has passed away at the age of 61. I did not see this coming because we was all enjoying December, blah blah blah, watching the fight and all that. Army, Navy, everything was going on. Then next thing I know, I get a notification, it's either Sunday or Monday, that Mike Leach was sent to the hospital, and there was a lot of rumors going on as far as his condition, a lot of speculations. I did not know what to believe. Some said that, oh, he's going through heart problems. Some people say he's brain dead. I didn't know. So I didn't want to get up here and make any videos or anything. Well, I couldn't make any videos anyways. I was under the weather, but I didn't want to make any posts about it on social media. Only thing I can do is just send my prayers to Mike Leach, because it was basically hush hush. It wasn't really a lot of news circulating going on with his health. Nobody really mentioned anything about it. So the only thing you could do is keep him in his prayers. But I was just hoping that he can make it out of this. I wasn't sure what to expect. But yesterday, he passed on at the age of 61. Now, I don't know much about Mike Leach. I did know that he used to coach at Washington State like a couple years back. Washington State has some pretty good seasons under here. Granted, no national title winning seasons, but he had Washington State on the cusp of winning the Pac-12, but they couldn't beat Washington. And this is like some of the best years that Washington State has had since the late 90s when they had Ryan Leaf there before he became a bust. And then next thing I know, 2020, he decides to take the job at Mississippi State. And you already knew Mississippi State was going to have a good offense. Mike Leach was an offensive guru. He was going to light it up, and for the most part, he really did that. Gators never got a chance to play him when he was at Mississippi State because next time that Florida plays Mississippi State, as far as I'm concerned, was going to be 2025 when the Bulldogs come to Starkville. But he lit it up on a few occasions. Obviously he couldn't beat Bama, and but he had a decent season there. Like I know he took Mississippi State from punching bad under Jim Moorhead to two or three bowl games in a row. I think they went bowling in 2020. Don't quote me on that. I know for sure they went in 2021. Then they went 8-4 this season. Got into a bowl game. I don't know which bowl game they're in right now, but But I commend Mississippi State for considering continuing to play in the bowl game. Because I think that's what Mike Leach wanted. My memories about Mike Leach, a lot of people say he was quirky. I'm not going to go with her. I'm not saying he wasn't. I just don't want to state the obvious. Everybody else is stating it. But he was definitely a one-of-a-kind head coach. You never know what to expect anytime you watch his interview. I remember around mid-season, he had an interview with Alyssa Lane. I think it's Alyssa Lane. She's still hot to this day. But that's the point. But yeah, he had an interview with Alyssa Lane, and they was talking about the game for a minute. And then Alyssa Lane brought up the fact that she was getting married to her fiance, and he wanted some. Not he. She wanted some advice from Mike Leach. Mike Leach says, "Elope." He's like, what's that beat crack is like he said he would have gave his kids, his offsprings, because they're not kids anymore. He would have gave his offsprings $1,000, something like that, if they were to elope instead of doing a traditional marriage. I was like, okay then. Like I kind of already knew how he was. A lot of people say he had conspiracy theories and all that. So to me, it was like, oh, it said Mike Leach was like this, but he's definitely a personality. When I put him up there with Spurrier and Jerry Glanville and Barry Switzer, no, I wouldn't put him in that category. But Mike Leach is pretty high up there when it comes to like coaches with personality. And it's not really like a Spurrier type personality where he come off as cocky. It's more so like a dry humor type personality. Like you just happen to catch it at that corresponding time to understand what he's saying. He's not coming off as trying to joke. It's just like it's like you don't know what to expect, and then when it steers off, it's like okay then. So that's the type of personality you'll get from Mike Leach. You know, it's definitely one of a kind. He's definitely gonna be missed. You know, I would like to see him stay at Mississippi State a little bit longer just to see what can be done, but we're not going to get the opportunity anymore. He passed on yesterday, so rest in peace to Mike Leach. Oh, one more story. I forget what game it was. It might have been the Georgia game. One of the females. I want to say I'm not going to. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to mix up the female sideline reporters. It was a female. It was after the Georgia. It was during the Georgia game. It was halftime, and I think she asked about the penalties and all that. And then he's like, "What do you think? You're watching the same game, right?" I was like, "Oh snap!" He right though. She was watching the same game. You have to assume so. You know, he flipped the script on her. Didn't want to get her thoughts. You know, he you can tell he was really happy at that point. You know, he was trying to steer way into the locker room. He's like, I want to be interviewed. It's like watching a Bear Bryant interview back in the '80s before Bear Bryant passed on. So it's like, but yeah, that was Mike Leach. You know, he was just, definitely one of a kind. He's definitely gonna be missed. You know, my heart goes out to his family. Excuse me. My heart goes out to Mississippi State, Washington State, and I think they say he was at Texas Tech at one point too. So my heart goes out to those universities because they have some attachment to Mike Leach. I know those three schools are definitely in mourning right now over this loss, and I don't think there's ever going to be a coach with the dry humor personality like Mike Leach for a long time. Like he set the standard high. It's gonna be so if anybody has a dry humor type personality is trying to get to the realms of coaching in college football, they're gonna have some really big shoes to fill, man. Because like nobody did like Mike Leach, man. I know he's gonna have that dry humor personality and dry humor personality up in heaven. He's gonna have the people up in heaven cracking up. I guarantee you. Rest in peace, Mike Leach.